we've come up with the ultimate guide for Alabama to beat Georgia in the SEC Championship because, let's be honest, all the national talking heads are picking Georgia. Everybody's saying Georgia's the best team. They're elite. They're complete. They're big time. There's no flaws on Georgia. Everything is riding here on Georgia. It's Kirby Smart's best team. It's a big time team. You've got the betting lines out there. I was looking at FanDuel Sportsbook this morning. The line on the game is 6.5 points in favor of Georgia. The money line is Georgia at -250, and even ESPN has Georgia winning the matchup with 66.6% of the vote. Alabama only getting 34.4%. So everybody's riding Georgia. Everybody going with the Bulldogs right here. So here we go. This is the TDA version of the ultimate guide for Alabama to take down the Dogs and get into this college football playoff here. So offensively and defensively, here we go. Starting this off offensively, the guy to beat Georgia, number one, is going to start with Alabama's offensive line and Doug Marrone. This group has to have a game for the ages. Games are won in the trenches, and Saturday's matchup will be won in the trenches. Georgia's got a group of dudes on that front that will be taken in the NFL draft. And for Alabama, in this game, you're not going to be able to overwhelm or overpower Georgia, but it's got to be able to stalemate the Dogs. It's got to neutralize the Dogs enough, win enough of those one-on-one battles up front to give Bryce Young time to hit big plays on the defensive secondary. So for Alabama in this matchup, doesn't matter what the combination of guys will be on the offensive line, whether it has Seth McLaughlin at center, Chris Owens at right tackle, whether it has Tommy Brown at a guard position. It really doesn't matter what combination of guys will make up this offensive line on Saturday. The key for Doug Marrone, the key to this group is, can it neutralize, can it stalemate the likes of Jordan Davis, Nakobe Dean, Nolan Smith, Channing Tindall? Can it neutralize these guys, Quay Walker? Can it neutralize these guys enough to where number 9 at quarterback Bryce Young can hook up with some big plays on this defensive backfield? If this offensive line can neutralize Alabama, can make this game very interesting and more and better than what the experts anticipate this going in. So number one here, it's got to be the offensive line. Also, now with the offense, you look at the run game for Alabama. The run game's got to have a pulse here. It may not necessarily be dominant. It may not necessarily be marquee. But the run game for the Tide has to have enough of a pulse to make Georgia respect it, to make Georgia have to account for it. And you look at the backs here with Brian Robinson, Trey Sanders, and your emergency guys, Demore Kennedy and Christian Leary. Now, Brian Robinson suffered a lower body muscle pull in last week's game, the Iron Bowl against Auburn. He was seen kind of grabbing his hamstring in that matchup. Now, he's been going through practice throughout the week. Some people have been telling me that he could be doubtful in this game. I still think he plays, but he could very much so be doubtful in this matchup against Georgia. If in the event that Brian Robinson does not play, then you look at more of Trey Sanders as your one lone scholarship running back in action there against the Bulldogs with your two emergency guys. But the big thing here in terms of the run game is going to be, if Alabama's going to run this football, you're not going to be able to get it in the teeth of the Georgia defense. You got to run some zone stretch plays outside, off the left side, off of Javion Cohen and Evan Neal. You got to run some zone stretch. You got to run some counter pull plays where you're pulling the guards, Cohen, Emil Ekiyor, throwing kick out blocks, blasting those holes for your running backs. Now, both of those two guys, Ekiyor and Cohen, may not be the best pass blocking guys, but in terms of run blocking, they are good run blockers. They can get their hands on guys, put them into the ground, pull around, throw kick out counter blocks, getting that run game going just enough to make Georgia respect that side there, that element of Alabama's game. The Crimson Tide going to have to run some misdirection here in this game, in the run game. Also, got to be able to have unbalanced line, anything it can do in the run game to offset Georgia, to keep Georgia guessing, to not have Georgia comfortable back there playing defensively. Anything you can do to disrupt the timing and the tempo of Georgia's defense where the run game is concerned, you got to take advantage of that if you're Alabama. Continuing with the offense here, this goes to Bill O'Brien and the skill guys. Bill O'Brien with Bryce Young, with Cameron Latou, Jaleel Billingsley, Jameson Williams, John Mechie, Slade Bolden, all of these guys offensively. You got to get the ball in the hands of the playmakers. Just like you got to run screens in the run game to get the run game going, running screens to these backs to beat those blitz type moves that Georgia will have on display. It's the same thing here. Got to run screens with these receivers, screens with tight ends. Georgia is a north-south defense, right? For Alabama, you got to get that thing moving east-west, catch them off guard, block them. But get that thing going east-west instead of north-south, which is what the Dogs want to do here in this matchup. And whether Alabama goes with play action, whether it goes with bootlegs, whether it goes with having Bryce Young extend plays, the play calling of Bill O'Brien, it's got to get the ball into the hands of the playmakers. And the playmakers have got to catch this ball. Like John Mechie, Jameson Williams, Jaleel Billingsley, Cameron Latou, Slade Bolden, they've got to catch the ball. You've got to work back to Bryce Young. You have got to come down with the football and then proceed to make moves here on this Georgia defense. So the play calling for O'Brien has to be sound, has to be crisp. He's got to be in his bag because he's got to call things that offset the Georgia defense. He's got to call things that keeps Kirby Smart guessing. He's got to call things to disrupt the flow and the timing of a defense that is top 5 in all major statistical categories here in college football. Also for Bill O'Brien, you've got to call design runs that make Bryce Young lethal with his feet. He came in as one of the top dual-threat quarterbacks in the nation in the 2020 class, but you've got to call plays that have Bryce Young deadly with his feet and make Georgia account for his athleticism, make Georgia account for his feet, make Georgia account for that dual-threat ability. Last but not least offensively, you got to use Jalen Milroe in this game. And I've said this before, any advantage that you think could be an advantage, you got to use it. Anything that you think could give yourself an edge over the competition, you got to use it. Anything that you feel like could put us over the top, and using Jalen Milroe's skill set in design runs, in RPOs, in him being able to check into run and pass plays, because he's got a big arm also, you got to get that on the field. You got to use that. The aim of the game is Georgia's defense can't be comfortable. If Georgia's defense is comfortable, they're going to be wreaking havoc. They're going to be wrecking havoc the whole game. You cannot have the Dogs comfortable on defense. You got to throw multiple things, numerous things at Georgia to have it going. What in the world are we supposed to expect? What in the world are we supposed to do? What in the world is going on? You got to offset that defense. But as we look at the Alabama defense, the one thing that it has to do, simple for the Bama defense, make Stetson Bennett's day a living nightmare. Make Stetson Bennett's day, his performance on the field, a living nightmare. You got to come out for this man and hit him. His legs, he is lethal with his legs. He loves to run. He makes winning plays on the field. Will Anderson and company, they've got to hit. They got to make Bennett beat them throwing over the top, but under pressure and under duress, throwing over the top. And whether for Pete Golding, whether this be corner blitzes, safety blitzes, blitzing linebackers into the A-gap, twist stunts of a defensive line, whatever it has to do, Golding's got to let it loose and get creative here with these blitzes. You cannot have Stetson Bennett comfortable in the pocket. He's got to be under duress all game long. I want one of two things here from this defense. Either for this, I want this defense to either look like the 2015 Bama defense in the Cotton Bowl, where it had Connor Cook of Michigan State going, "What the heck do you want me to do? They're everywhere. What do you want me to do here?" or the 2013 defense against LSU that had Zach Mettenberger literally crawling off the field in pain. They had Zach crawling off the field in so much discomfort because of all the pressure that it got to Mettenberger. But that's just the ultimate guy there I have in terms of Alabama beating Georgia and what it would take to knock out the Bulldogs here in the SEC championship game.